Hello, everyone, and welcome to 8-Brit, a show with two Brits and top 8s. I'm Dan,
And I'm Chris.
and today we're talking about...
Top 8 games of E3 2016.
Yeah, so this is just the top 8 games we saw at E3 2016 that we really want to play and that they've totally sold us on. So I'm just going to take it away with...
8.
Okay, my number 8 is For Honor, because For Honor looks awesome. Like, why would you not want to play a game where Vikings, samurais, and knights are just kicking the absolute turds out of each other? It just looks so good. Like, the gameplay they showed at Ubisoft conference this year was just a Viking laying siege to a massive samurai castle, kicking the turds out of everyone he could possibly see, killing a bunch of dudes, slashing everyone up, fighting dudes. It just looks rad. It looks awesome. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play. I'm excited. They can still screw it up because it's Ubisoft. Let's be honest with ourselves. Ubisoft don't have a good track record, but I don't know. For Honor, it looks good. It looks like it's going to be an enjoyable game, and I'm totally on board with it. That's pretty much all I have to say. For a lot of these, I don't really have a huge amount to say.
Me neither.
Chris, I know you're winging it for this. You have no script,
I'm chicken
no notes.
winging it, man.
I don't know why that was so funny to me. It really shouldn't have been.
I have nothing to say about For Honor. Sols.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to transition straight into your number 8 because,
Let's
I don't have that
do
much.
that then. So my number 8 is Dishonored 2, which is a game that looks better than the first one. Oh my god, I really am winging this. I mean, okay, my number 8 is like, I don't really care too much about Dishonored 2, to be honest, but I enjoyed the first one, and I'm sure this one looks a bit better than the first one. You play as that Emily all grown up, like, okay, that's cool.
All grown up, I really want to shout it out. It's that Rugrats spin-off. You remember that?
Yeah, I do
Rugrats all
remember.
grown up?
So, Dishonored 2, sponsored by Nickelodeon. You do some stealth stuff again, I guess, and yeah.
Oh my god, you should chicken wing it every time because this is magical. This is just so good.
Okay, that's all I got.
7.
Okay, my number 7 is Dishonored 2.
I'm sure you have more to
because
say about it than me.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of don't. The one thing we got on Dishonored 2 is that it looks more of the same from Dishonored 1, and I really enjoyed Dishonored 1, so I'm totally on board with playing another Dishonored game. I'm okay with stabbing dudes. That was the best part of the first one. I want to stab more dudes. So if you show me a lot of dude stabbing, I'm on board with the game. In the gameplay demo, they showed this really cool mechanic where you can jump between two potential timelines. So you can kind of jump into one where like this mansion is in ruins and one where the mansion isn't in ruins, which essentially lets you kind of go invisible. So you can kind of kill a dude, then hop to the one where the mansion's in ruins, and just kind of wait it out until the guards have been like, where'd they go? And then you come out back into the other timeline, and it just looks super cool to do. So I'm hoping there's more mechanics like that and more kind of interesting mechanics in this game. But aside from that, yeah, it just looks fun. It just looks like a game where you kill dudes and
Do stealth stuff.
I'm gonna enjoy it, yeah. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm glad they showed gameplay of it, and yeah, it was the only thing really worth showing at Bethesda's conference. So thanks for all the DLC and CGI cutscenes, Bethesda. What's your number 7?
Alright, so my
Chris?
number 7 is technically 3 games, I suppose, and something that didn't even get shown, really. It's the Crash 1, 2, and 3 remasters. So, like, I sort of missed the Sony conference, and then you guys were talking about it in our exclusive Discord chat. And I was just like, oh, they announced some Crash remakes. Oh, did they show it? And he was like, no, they didn't. But they announced him in Skylanders. I was like, what?
They announced that really ugly looking Skylanders character model that's just gross, and I'm really not on board with that. But yeah, Crash Remastered could be interesting. I missed out on them when like the PS1 and 2 were about.
Like Crash
so
1, 2, and
it's something I'll
3.
pick up.
Crash 1, 2, 3, and other Crash stuff was a big part of my childhood. It's not going to convince me to buy a PS4 just yet, but I think it's really cool that they've given Crash some attention finally, even if it's just remakes.
Yeah.
But it's good. I'm happy to hear that they're getting remastered, and hopefully a new one on the way someday.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of them testing the water to see if people still care about Crash, and if it sells well, they'll they'll kind of put money into more Crash games. So
also, I hope to see that they fix some problems the first game had, because it's not as good as 2 or 3. So that's another thing.
Good.
But yeah, the Crash remasters, I guess you can put up as text on the screen. I don't know.
Yeah, I can totally put up video of that. I'll put up video of like the dude walking up just in real slow motion over this entire park, because there was nothing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because they had the whole grand entrance where it's like, oh my god, Crash Bandicoot, and then they were like remasters, Skylanders, and everyone was like, what are you doing, Sony?
6.
All right, my number 6 is Recall. Recall's a game we saw last year. It looked pretty good, but we didn't see any gameplay last year. This year, though, we saw a really good trailer that just totally sold me on the mechanics, and it basically looks like a cool puzzle platformer where you're dashing around like a friggin' moon man, and I love it. I bet this game's gonna have a dash that makes breakfast. I don't know. But I feel like no one's gonna get that reference, but I'm
not even sure I get it.
It's from the garbage Mighty Number 9 trailer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it looks cool. It looks like it has cool action platforming mechanics. The squid robot looks really cute, and I love him. Just in general, this game looks great. It looks like something that will be fun to play. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing more, and I hope it's good. What's your number 6, Christopher?
Well, my number 6 is Tekken 7. Now, they sort of... I wasn't expecting to see this in the Microsoft conference earlier. I was going to say earlier this week, but this is going to come out in about a million years' time. But yeah, Tekken 7, I mean, I've loved Tekken when I was younger, and then I played Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on the Wii U, and I had a lot of fun with that. And Tekken 7 just looks like another great Tekken game. But the most interesting thing is that they've added Akuma from Street Fighter, and he's actually going to be a vital plot point, which I find is very interesting. They're going to figure out where the Devil Demon gene comes from. I don't follow the story that closely, but it's still interesting. But they've added a few new mechanics, like the Rage... I've forgotten the name. Rage something. And I think...
Just make it up, yeah.
I think they've also added like a similar meter that Street Fighter has, but it's not quite the same. But yeah, I mean, it's another Tekken game which looks fun, and I like Tekken, so that's all I got. Oh, and King is returning. He's my favourite character. I looked up on the Wikipedia page just to make sure to see if King comes back, and he's back. So yeah,
cool.
Tekken 7.
Is it the Burger King? Is he going to be sneaking up on his opponents? No, but seriously, King's the dude with like a lion head, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he? Is he that? Okay.
He's the lion mask wrestler dude, so he's awesome.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I'll give you that.
So yeah, Tekken 7 looks great. And yeah, my number 6.
5.
Okay, my number 5 is a game called Days Gone. Days Gone is a game that was shown in Sony's conference. Originally, they showed a trailer for it, and I was just like, wait, what? This looks cool. What's this? And then at the end, they showed a whole load of gameplay, and it looks like I was kind of hooked from that first trailer, because there's lines like the main character basically says like, he's like, some of us lost our minds, some of us lost more than that, much more. Now I'm a drifter, a bounty hunter, a mercenary. I want to be a bounty hunter. I want to be a mercenary. I want to do both of those things in a zombie apocalypse. That sounds awesome. I want to be bounty hunting dudes in like an open world zombie wilderness.
Oh yeah, it looks fun.
How good does that sound? How good is that as a premise? That has me hooked. And like the gameplay they showed of like waves of zombies. Like, I mean, it looks kind of like generic zombie shooter, yeah, but like,
yeah,
I think I'm on board with that, as long as like that's not the whole game. As long as there's elements to it where it's like sneaking up on dudes to do your bounty hunting jobs, I'm cool with a mix of like a tsunami of zombies coming at you and then coming to find a dude and kill him. And and the idea of like having to actually stealth on people, because if you don't, then the zombies will come. That sounds like a good mechanic. We don't know a huge amount of this game, but from what I do know and what I'm kind of like almost assuming is going to be the case, I'm excited about it, and I'm totally on board. So
yeah, all I have to say is like, yeah, I couldn't help but think it was like, oh, another zombie game. But I mean, if I did have the game, I definitely would have fun with it. There's been a lot of zombie games even just announced at this E3, but it does look like a fun game.
I mean, the thing is, I haven't played a zombie game in years, so I'm kind of on board to play a good one now. Like I'm not burnt out on zombies, so I'm alright with it.
Fair enough.
What would you say is your number 5 game of E3 2016?
My number 5 game of E3 2016 is We Happy Few. So I saw this in the Microsoft conference. I think it was elsewhere, but whatever. But yeah, it's basically like a Bioshocky, almost Fallouty, whatever, call it. I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically it looks like an immersive, story-driven, crazy game. Like there's some English guy like, oh, I've got to make the door, or I don't know what he says.
Oh, Percy, where have you gone, Percy?
And then like suddenly his drugs wear off, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? Oh God! And then you run away, and it looks great, like a good immersive, story-driven game, which I already said.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about this a bit more later on. But basically, the whole concept is that it's in the 60s when we lost World War II, I think, and everyone like the world has gone so badly like down the toilet that everyone is relying on a drug called joy in order to not see how horrible the world is, and you stop being on your joy. And I've heard that apparently the gameplay is you have to pretend that you're still on it and sort of act like you're still on the joy, or people will start getting suspicious of you, and you're kind of walking around this town like seeing it for what it really is, but having to act like you don't. And that is such a good premise to me. Like, I mean, I'm going to talk about this later because, let's be honest here, it's awesome and it's one of the best games of E3, but I just wanted to say that because, damn, it's such a cool concept. I love it.
It looks really interesting. So, We Happy Few is my number 5.
4.
Okay, my number 4 is Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 because, let's be real here, Spider-Man is awesome. Everyone loves Spider-Man. Insomniac apparently have a good track record with video games, so I kind of trust them. I'm really happy that there's actually a developer that people have faith in making a Spider-Man game, and that it could end up being really good. I would love it to be really good.
Sorry, yes. I think Insomniac made Ratchet and Clank series and something else. So
yeah, so I think they're good. I think they're fine. Hopefully it's going to be good. If it is good, oh my god, yes. And also, if this is good and it's successful, then maybe it'll make Marvel look at Sony and be like, yo, Sony, do you want to get Insomniac to make games for other Marvel characters and make an Iron Man game for us? I would love that. As a comic book fan, that's what I want in my life. I want more faithful to the material comic book games. The only worry I have about this is that part of me sort of assumes that Sony has like a Bond villain at the top, and that the Bond villain Sony exec is just twizzling his mustache and going, Civil War made people like Spider-Man again after we ruined him. Let's make some more money. People like Spider-Man now. Let's cash out on that and make a video game. So that's just, I'm worried about that's the motive behind that. But if Insomniac are behind it, and maybe even though it's a money game, maybe it'll still be good, hopefully. That's my thinking. What's your number 4, though?
Well, I didn't actually expect this transition, but from one Marvel-y thing to something that's spoofing off Marvel, we have South Park Fractured Butthole as my number 4. That'll never not be funny.
No, it gets me every time, and I don't know why. It shouldn't, because it's totally juvenile and not actually that funny, but just hearing people say it makes me laugh.
So I finally got around to watching the South Park segment of the Ubisoft conference, and it was just so funny, like a top tier South Park episode comedy, sort of top tier. It's just like they just take the mick out of Marvel. Like, I don't even watch Marvel movies that much, but I still found it funny because the guys are trying to make their own movie series, so everyone's like pretending to be a superhero. It's like, and then Cartman's like, all right, we're gonna be like phase 1, and this terrible Cartman impression. But
wasn't it like you get a Netflix series and then you don't get your own movie until you're in our team up later on, and it's like, this is how Marvel do it.
And then like the guys branch off to be DC or something, I don't know. But the gameplay seems to be a bit more involved than Stick of Truth, which I still need to play because some amazing person bought it for me.
Wow, I wonder who that was.
Yeah, but I will play that and then definitely play the Fractured Butthole. So
every time, I don't know why it's still funny.
But yeah, the game looks great, so that's my number 4.
3.
My number 3 is a little game called Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh my god, it looks so good. I went on about this quite a lot last year because they showed gameplay of it straight out the bat, and it was just amazing. But like, it still looks good. It's a beautiful looking world. The whole thing kind of intrigues me because it's like there are robot animals walking around, and it seems to be like post-apocalyptic but prehistoric at the same time. Like society died, and then everything kind of rose from the ashes. And for some reason, why are there robot animals? I need to know. I really want to get into that world and find out. It's incredibly rare for a game to intrigue me story-wise like this. Like, I'm someone who just doesn't care about story, but I want to know how this story goes. I want to know how things unfold. I want to know what happened there. And just the whole setting is interesting. The gameplay looks solid. They showed mounted combat. Like, you can hack into, like, these buffalo robots and just be like, nah, you're my mount now. Let's do this. And just, yeah, it looks great. The whole thing in general looks like a solid game. I'm excited for it. It just looks good. Yeah.
I don't really know anything about Horizon Zero Dawn. Sounds fun from your description, so cool.
It's because you're stupid and you haven't watched everything at E3 this year, idiot.
I haven't watched all the ZBN content now on the ZBN.
What's your number 3, dude?
Alright, so my number 3 is Recore. Dan mentioned it earlier, but yeah, when it came up on the Microsoft conference, it's like, oh my god, this actually looks really fun. It's like not a brown shooter, it's a colourful 3D platformer action game with grappling mechanics and, you know, all the robots.
God, I forgot to mention the grappling hook. Oh, there's a grappling hook.
Yeah, one of the robot guys like acts as a grappling thingy, and that looks fun.
Yeah, the squid guy. I love the squid robot.
Yeah,
He's
that's
so
it.
good.
And one of my favourite parts of the trailer, I don't know why, but I like the cyber bluey looking part and the, I can't remember what the character's name is, but she dashes through like this little square hole and then lands on a very narrow platform. It just looks fun and platformy, and there's also action.
Yeah.
It just looks like a great game, so I might pick it up.
People have been saying it kind of looks like Mega Man in 3D, like you're dashing around, running around, shooting things, and I can kind of see that. Like,
kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I can see those comparisons. But yeah, Recall looks fun.
From the makers of Metro Prime, no less.
Yeah, maybe they'll make a good game this time. Hey, nobody agrees with me on that. Let's move on.
2.
Okay, my number 2 is a game we mentioned earlier. It's We Happy Few. We kind of covered it earlier, so I'm not going to go into that much detail. Basically, it just is really exciting to see this whole story, and everything about it looks interesting. The whole thing has me hooked. I want to know more. There is gameplay up, I think, of it right now. Like, I think IGN has like 10 minutes of gameplay, and I don't want to watch it because while I want to see more, I don't want to spoil it for myself. So I'm kind of, I'm doing that thing where I media blackout and I try and avoid everything, which is hard for me on this game because I really want to know more. It's kind of one of those. It's kind of like the Firewatch of 2016 in the way that it's story driven and the dialogue has me hooked, and it's not like this big production. It's kind of this small indie thing that was shown at a conference and just is exciting. So I'm definitely going to keep this on my radar. Looks great. One little tidbit I want to throw out there is if you go and watch the trailer on YouTube, and you know how YouTube has closed captioning, so you can turn on captions that auto-generate?
Yeah.
Well, when the guy is saying, Percy, because he has an English accent,
oh no,
they want it to be American, the YouTube closed captioning reckons that he's saying pussy licking. I'm not even joking. That's what it comes up as. Pussy. And unless they fixed it, that's what it will still come up as right now if you go and look at that. Like, that's just hilarious to me.
Okay then.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Gears of War 4. So they showed more gameplay again this year, and all I can really say is that I've loved the Gears 1, 2, and 3. Judgment was okay, but I mean, I love Gears of War, so another Gears of War game, of course it's going to be on my hype list. This time around, you're playing as Marcus Phoenix's son.
Mark Phoenix's son, yeah. Dave Phoenix. Is that his name?
JD Phoenix, I think his name is. Anyway, although I will have to say, I wonder how much I'll like the characters this time around, because I did actually enjoy the characters like Baird and whatever from the previous games. But anyway, it's another Gears game. There's new weapons. There's executions, and I do wonder what the story will entail. And at the end of the trailer E3, you see Marcus Phoenix himself with an old beard and whatnot. So yeah.
I like how old beardy guys is just a thing now. Like Kratos is doing it, Ryu was doing it. It's just, I don't know why it works, but it does.
Now Mark Fenix is doing.
I don't know why Mark Fenix is so funny to me, but it just is. Oh man, so I have a couple of honorable mentions here just before we go on to the... I mean, to be honest, if you've watched any of our other content this week, you know what our number one is going to be. Like, if you've been paying attention to E3 2016 and you don't know what our number one best game of the show at E3 2016 is at this point, then you're dumb and go away. But before we get
come
to
back.
That... No, come back. I was just kidding. But before we get to that, honorable mentions. I want to say, Fee from EA's conference looks really interesting. Like that kind of has me like hooked. Quake looks like it could be fun. It's probably not something I'll play, but I'm intrigued by it definitely. God of War looks great. I haven't played any of the other games, but this looks like it's going to be a good game at that. Sea of Thieves, I am very interested in seeing more of. I would like to just hang out and play with people. I want to be those guys on that cringy Let's Player montage they had, but like less cringy.
That one guy with the beard was too crazy.
Yeah, he was like, "No, don't leave me behind." Detroit being Become Human looks like it's got a really intriguing story and a good premise. Steep looks fun. I like SSX games. I ragged on it during the reaction video because I was so tired, but looking back at Steep now, Steep looks great, and then just The Last Guardian looks like it's going to be a great game. The trailer didn't do much for me this year, so I kind of like it. Like they didn't add to my hype this year, so it didn't really make my list. But The Last Guardian would probably be my number 9 if I had to do one. So, do you have any honorable mentions?
I'll just quickly say Sea of Thieves. Like, wow, something different from Modern Rare. Like, you know. I think Death Stranding is cool because like Kojima's like actually.
Shut up! No.
What?
You weren't there for the post-show podcast that we did.
Okay.
I am not on board with Death Stranding. Artsy, hipster, look at how edgy we are. Look at all naked guy with a baby. And
I mean, I'm going to be fair, I probably will never play it, but I just think it's interesting, and it's cool that Kojima's actually doing something with Norman Reedus after Konami killed off their project. So
it's cool that Kojima gets to make a game, but I do not approve of this trailer. I do not approve of people getting excited for this game because of it. This trailer shows us nothing about anything.
It's too deep for you to understand, man.
It's just no. It's like an edgy teenager trying too hard to be artsy. I just don't like it. I'm so against. This is my personal opinion. If you like this sort of garbage, fine. But I hate this sort of like artsy, look at all he's got hands on him, that's a metaphor for something. Shut up, Kojima.
Anyway,
I don't like it.
I'll also mention Yooka-Laylee, which got an E3 trailer before E3, and it looks pretty fun, so yeah, that's that.
Yeah, Yooka-Laylee looks fun.
1.
Okay, so this is pretty obvious. Me and Chris, do you want to say
let's say it at the same time.
3, 2, 1. Titanfall 2.
What?
Just kidding, Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, Zalad, Breath of Wind.
Breasts of the Weed. I feel like there's no real use of us talking about this in that much detail because we're going to do a whole podcast on this game because it looks amazing. They showed like 4 hours of gameplay. Just to touch on the highlights of it for me, shield surfing looks amazing. The fact that you can tear off a dude's arm and beat him with it is just amazing. There's so much depth, there's so much detail. The fact that they're saying there's going to be like a dynamic weather and time system is just so hype. Everything about this game looks incredible. They could screw it up somehow, but I really don't see how they can do it at this point. Like,
it's kind of like the anti-Skyward Sword, which is great. Even though I like that game, but you know.
Shut up, Skyward Sword's bad. Everything I hate about Zelda, I think has been removed for this game. Like, it feels like a smooth, fun, open experience.
Yeah, you can pretty much go anywhere. You can do whatever shrine or dungeon you want. You know, and
oh my god, it's so hype.
Yeah, I can't wait to get lost in the world, basically. And there's going to be towns and stuff, which they removed from the demo, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm really interested in the story. Like, you know, Nintendo don't usually put effort in the story, but there's going to be a little bit, you know, like, why is Link resurrected in this shrine? And, you know.
Post Wind Waker calling it. But, I mean, to be honest, I'm the opposite of you. I'm excited because they said there's so much freedom that I can skip the story. Yeah. I can go straight to Ganon if I want. Yes!
Naked Link with only an arm.
Naked Link wielding only arms and having shields, but not using them as shields, just using them to shield surf.
Just surfing to Ganon and then just beating him with a Stalfos arm.
It's so good. But like people are saying, like speed runs of this game are going to be hilarious to watch because it's going to be like Naked Link only like holding a stick, like shield surfing across Hyrule. It's going to be amazing. Like this whole game looks so good, and if this isn't your game of the show for 2016's E3, let us know why, because I honestly don't understand, because I'm the biggest Nintendo naysayer on the ZBN, and even I'm excited about this game. Like, I don't know how you can not be. It just looks so good. So game of the show, 2016, Zelda Breath of the Wild, looks so good.
Yep.
Just to wind this one out, we know there's been a delay on 8-Bit for a while. We know we haven't been like here that much. We're like an absent parent. We've ditched you and left you on the street to fend for yourself. But we're back. We should be having episodes more frequently. Hopefully this is a sign of...
We have one recorded since December, but that'll go up soon.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that, because it makes me look really inadequate because I've put off editing it for so long. How dare you say that, Chris? How dare you out me as the failure that I am?
But yeah,
we're gonna...
Nine Brat is
try
back.
And bring it back. Nine Brat. That's the dumbest name for anything ever. Apart from Effortless.
Rip in peace.
Sorry, I like to think that we have a feud, except we don't, because they don't care about us in the slightest.
I know.
But I like to tote it as if we do have a feud. Anyway, so yeah, this has been our top 8 games of 2016's E3. I've been Dan.
I've been Chris.
And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode that should be coming soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Unless I fail you again. If there's like a month and there's no 8-Bit, just... I would say send me messages, but you don't know where to send the messages. Send Chris tweets, angry tweets, saying, where's 8-Bit? And he'll forward them on to me.
I will do that. So leave us comments and stuff, and yeah.
Alright, see you guys.
Bye.
Have a good one. Laters. Dislike, comment, unsubscribe.
Hey, I haven't said that in a while.
Hey, it's been a while. Bringing it back.
Okay, bye.
Laters.